What up? What up? Welcome to another exciting episode of The Real Deal. NFL season is here, 2023. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of The Real Deal. I am your host, as always, Courtney Harden. It is NFL season. NFL season is back. The 2023 NFL season kicked off just this past Thursday, and we got a full slate of games on Sunday and Monday night. So week one is officially here. Well, before we get started, I want to thank everyone that is tuning in on video or audio. We are live here in Philly Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. A late one here usually that follow. I'm usually on at like 11 or 12 on Saturdays, but kind of pushed it back a little bit because I got a great guest coming up. So I wanted to keep her on the show and want to do the show with her. She's a returning guest, so she'll be on a little later. So, but yeah, it's the same thing. You know, even if it's 2 o'clock, if it's 1 o'clock, if it's 11 o'clock, it's the same great content that you get each and every week. Again, I'm your host, Courtney Harden. Thank you for everyone that's tuning in on BS3 TV, BS3 Roku TV app, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on all podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Google Play, Apple, Spreaker, YouTube, Anchor, wherever you get podcast, we are there. The show is there, so you can check the audio out. You can listen to the audio later. The Real Deal with Courtney Harden. Follow me on all the social media platforms. I still call it Twitter. I know it's X or Twitter X or whatever. It's Twitter to me still. So follow me on Twitter at Get the Real Deal, at Courtney110979. You can follow me on Facebook, Courtney Harden. Instagram, same thing, CJ Harden _79 there. Follow the show on BS3 TVlive.com. Follow the entire network, BS3TVlive.com, BS3network.com as well. So shout out to the entire network. Still putting out so much great content. The BS3 network, we got so many different shows. So check out the network, check out the page, check out the BS3TVlive.com page. Also check out BS3network.com and check out all of our content as we are going to events. We're reporting on events. We're, putting ourselves out there as well as reporters and trying to get credentials and things like that, which is, it's been hard, but we've had some interviews. We did the Super Bowl last year. We were there at Radio Row and in Phoenix. So we have some content there. We're trying to get out there next year for Vegas. I will be there more than likely. So this time I'm got my schedule for next year. I will be in Vegas with the BS3 network. So we'll be there doing some interviews and just getting ourselves out there as a network as well. So we got that. We've been the Dallas Stars doing content with them. The network has done some things with them, going to some of the games and reporting there. I've been doing some WBA content with some interviews and things like that on the Zoom with some of the players and coaches and some of the media. So I've been part of that, media credential for that. I was at WBA draft, did some things with that. So, yeah, the network is just grinding, building, getting better each and every time we're out there to represent. So again, thank you to everyone that supports, that tunes in. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit that bell, where you can get all the content and get all the updates, things like that. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows, you want to be a guest on my show, just hit me up on social media there. Yeah, because I'm always looking for great guests. I'm always looking for different guests to tell their story, and each and every day. My show airs just about almost every day or every other day. Whenever I have guests, I have some content to put out, and then Saturdays is, like I said, the main show on all those platforms as well. So, all right, I think I got all of the intro there, so where you can find us and things like that. So, like I said, just Google The Real Deal with Courtney Harden. BS3 Network, Google that. BS3 is the number 3 network. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for always subscribing, liking, sharing all the content as well. So, all right, long intro over with. But like I said, I got a great guest. I got Gabby Hurlburt will be on the show momentarily, and we're going to go over NFL Week 1 is here. It's finally here. The theme of the show is the NFL 2023 NFL season is back. It's finally here. We're excited. We just had the first game of the season. The Kansas City Chiefs was at home, and they lost to the Detroit Lions on Thursday night, 21-20. So, I mean, there was a lot of different things heading into this game, where the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, coming into this season as, if not the favorites, to get back to the Super Bowl, but they're dealing with a lot of different issues as well heading into this season. Chris Jones has not signed, and he's holding out. Was at the game. One of their best defensive player. He was at the game in the press box, but he's holding out for a new contract. Travis Kelce is dealing with, I think it's a hamstring or groin. I think it's a hamstring. He's dealing with an injury. So you have that. He didn't play. So Patrick Mahomes' favorite target and best weapon on offense, and it showed that they were missing on both sides of the football. Now, losing to Detroit in game 1 for week 1 is not the end of the season. I think there's always overreaction with week 1 when something happens like this. When the Chiefs they almost won the game, and they have you got Patrick Mahomes, got the best player in the league, got the best quarterback, the best player in the league. To me, the best player in the league by far still, and you always got a shot, but it just comes to show that he still needs all of his weapons. He still needs his main weapon, Travis Kelce, offensively, and then Chris Jones on the other side, getting pressure on the quarterback. The Kansas City Chiefs defense played well. They held Detroit really to 14 points because they have a pick 6 with Kadarius Toney. The ball bounced out of his hands and picked off, and touchdown, interception, pick 6. So the Chiefs defense did what they were supposed to do. They held Detroit to 14 points. So without that interception, this game could have went either way. They still only lost by 1, but it does show in that way that Travis Kelce is much needed, because he is Mahomes' best weapon, security blanket. When he needs that first down, he goes right to him, and that's where Patrick Mahomes needs him. So with all the other receivers around him, they couldn't get separation at all, and it showed, because you could tell Mahomes was frustrated. Mahomes was not just wasn't comfortable. The offensive line couldn't really block as well, and he's looking around trying to find his targets and trying to find his receivers. They couldn't get open, and they didn't get open. So that just goes to show like how much Travis Kelce is needed, but they're going to have to get more production out of those Sky Moore, out of Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney had a bad game. He had a couple of drops, and Sky Moore had a couple of drops. They tried to run the football. They couldn't do that really effectively. The Chiefs, like I said, it's an overreaction because everybody's dumping on them because they lost at home. but he was without his favorite target. But the receivers in the S, they have to get open, and he has to rely on somebody in there. They don't have a true number one receiver at all, so they have to. If you have any comments or anything, hit me in the chat. Thank you to CJ Boyd. Really appreciate the support coming on. I'm about to try to become a wide receiver to replace Tony. Yeah, man. So if you have any chats on Facebook or YouTube, definitely I'd love to hear your predictions and things like that, because we're going to go through some predictions here for the season and what we like in week one. Once my guest comes on. But it's an overreaction, but got to give a lot of credit. A lot of people are not giving enough credit to the Detroit Lions, who have won 9 straight or 8 of their last 9 heading into this season, and then they come in and they have high expectations to win the NFC North, because without Aaron Rodgers is out of Green Bay with the New York Jets. You still got Minnesota in that division, who will be tough. The Chicago Bears should be improved with Justin Fields getting some weapons around him. They'll be a little bit improved. And then also you got, like I said, Green Bay Packers now with Jordan Love at the helm. So we get to see what they do. And CJ says, I kept saying this for a while. People laughing at me, but in about 2 years, I seriously see them becoming a contender. I think he's thinking about the Detroit Lions. Yeah, Detroit Lions, I got to give them a lot of credit. They came into Kansas City and beat the defending Super Bowl champions. Like they had a good game plan and they executed. And their coach, they believe that they can make some noise, and I think they will. They will make some noise in the NFC, and they could possibly win the division. I think it's going to come down to them in Minnesota. But they got a good offense. Their defense is improved. Picking up some key players, key positions on defense. So they're coming on strong. They came on strong, like I said, at the end of last season, and I think won 8 of their last 9. And now they 1-0, beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and now they're 1. Like I said, they're 1-0. So we'll see now. But like I said, it's week 1. Can't really overreact, but a big win for Detroit. Kansas City will be fine. I think the Chiefs will be fine there. So I mean, they're too good. They still got Andy Reid. Andy Reid's calling plays now, and they still got Patrick Mahomes. And like I said, he looked fine. They'll be fine. It's just that the receivers got to get open. The receivers got to make plays. Besides, outside of Travis Kelce, they'll run the ball. I just feel like they'll be fine moving forward. So let's not overreact. So let me get into a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna talk some week 1 matchups. So before my guest comes on, we'll see when she's able to get on. She says she's running a little late, but if not, then the show goes on regardless. So we'll see what happens. But I want to get into this week 1. These week 1 matchups from a prediction, maybe a couple key players on for fantasy, because fantasy football is big. I know when I talked a couple weeks ago, I was just going to do one draft or one league, but I ended up I'm in the Scott Fish Bowl league. I'm in that. I'm in. I'm doing the Real Deal podcast. That's our third year, so that's an annual. So I'm in that one. I'm in another league with some content creators that invited me, so I'm in that. So that's 3. And I'm doing an ESPN league for one of my coworkers. I'm a co-manager for her league, so I'm in that one. I do DraftKings. So I told myself I wasn't going to get into so many leagues, but here I am in about 4 or 5 leagues with that. So, and I'm doing a Survivor League on CBS Sports. So I'm doing that where you pick one team per week to win, and you keep going. So this week I have the Baltimore Ravens I picked them as my pick for the Survivor League and in the CBS Survivor League, CBS Sports Survivor League to beat the Texans. So you pick a team each and every week who you think will win, and you only pick them one time throughout the season. So Baltimore's my first pick. I got them over the Texans, so that was my pick. So yeah, I'm doing again. I would say every year I'm only gonna do one or two leagues, and I end up getting into like 6, 7 leagues. Now I've had some guests on over the past month, doing previews and fantasy football previews, shows and things like that, NFL previews. And some of these people are doing like 10, 15, 50 leagues. I don't even know how you have time to even manage that because I have a hard time just managing 3 leagues. Can you imagine how much they're managing 10, 15, 20, 50 leagues? That's a lot of leagues. And then I had one guest that she said that she just can't say no because it's so much fun. It is fun. Fantasy football is a lot of fun, especially when you're playing it with your friends or you're playing against other experts in the industry and things like that. But it is a lot of fun. And then you got money leagues that comes up too. That's always fun to try to win some money because then you got your bragging rights and you want to win the league. So I'm excited. I'm going to read you guys my team. I mean, I know probably much don't care about my fantasy league football team before we get into it, but I want to read you the team that I drafted, and I'll read you the team I drafted in my main league, my real deal fantasy football league. So I have Jalen Hurts, of course, as an Eagles fan, but he fell to me. He fell to me in the second round, third round. Fell to me in the third round. I mean, and the quarterbacks was coming off the board, Mahomes and Josh Allen. So Hurts is the next one. So I said, let me just get a good quarterback and one of the elite quarterbacks, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy. But I got Jalen Hurts. I got Ramondre Stevenson. I got Gibbs, who he had 7 carries on Thursday, 42 yards, 2 reception, 18 yards. They didn't use them. They didn't use him enough. And this guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, they drafted him high in the draft. They really have to. They really got to try to implement him on the field. So let's hopefully. I got Tyreek Hill, I got AJ Brown, Higbee is my tight end, Rashad White, Mike Williams, and the Bills defense. And I got Dan Carlson, the Vegas kicker, as my kicker. And now I got Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, Jerry Jeudy, who's injured, who's out, Gabe Davis, and Dalton Schultz. So I love this team. I really do. And I think this team's going to make some noise. But we'll see what happens. We gotta see. You never know. You look good. You think you have it all. You prepare and all those for the draft, and then you get that draft, and it's like, oh, I got the best team. We all think that until the games are played. So that was my main. That's the real deal fantasy league. But I do like my squad. But one question here, CJ said, do you think the Eagles are going to Super Bowl again this year? I do, and I know it's hard because I'm an big Eagles fan, but I'm throwing my bias out. So looking at it objectively, like if you guys know me, I try to be as objective as I can. I think the Eagles do have the one of the best teams in period. They're solid on the offensive line. They did lose pieces on the defensive line and on the defense, I should say, but they had a good draft. They have some young players. They have some veterans. Again, offensive line, defensive line, and that's what the Eagles usually are their strengths. Jalen Hurts is only going to improve even more. He was an MVP candidate, so he's only going to improve more. He also and still has Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. The running game is still solid. Even though they did lose Miles Sanders, they got Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift. Still got Kenneth Gainwell, so they're gonna run the football. They're gonna pass, and it's gonna be hard to go against. So, I do think that the Eagles. I don't think they're gonna win 14 games this year because they really had some pretty good health. So if they stay healthy, I think they can still win the NFC. They can still win the NFC East. That believe they're one of the top teams in the NFC, definitely, because uh, you got the Cowboys. And CJ, I know you're a Cowboys fan. I was going to ask you the same question. He said, I'm a media Cowboys, but I definitely believe the Eagles can make some noise. Yeah. And what do you think? I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to present this question to you. Being a Cowboys fan, what do you think of the Cowboys heading into this season? Are you believer? Do you think Dak is the pressure on Dak to deliver? You got Mike McCarthy now calling the plays. On that side, they should be really good on defense. Should have one of the best defenses in the league heading into this season. I think that should be it. It's just now offensively they picked up Brandon Cooks, so they got more weapon. They got another weapon for Dak on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. So you have that. So what do you feel about your Dallas Cowboys? I'd love to hear that. But what do you think? I think Dallas is gonna be solid again. I mean, that's what I was saying. They'll be good. San Francisco 49ers with all their weapons and everything too. It's I think it's going to come down to Eagles and 49ers again in the NFC championship on that side. And I picked the Chiefs to come out of the AFC. I think it's going to be Chiefs, Bengals again. So basically a rematch of last year. So I've gone with that as my prediction. The Chiefs, Bengals, and Eagles, 49ers, Eagles, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And we will beat the Chiefs this time around, rematch. And it was that was such a great Super Bowl. I have a feeling that it's gonna be Chiefs Eagles again if everybody's healthy. So he says here about the Cowboys question. I'm not gonna lie, I think we're gonna make the playoffs, but we're gonna choke like always. We Cowboy fans go to the Saints like we have a great season. We go on maybe a 4-game win streak. We think we're unstoppable. We maybe get out of the first round of the playoffs and then we lose to the 49ers twice. And hey, I like that. That's why I like they're yes. Some Cowboy fans, it's always Super Bowl and it's always this, it's always that. You're a realistic Cowboy fan, and then I like that because I try to be a realistic Eagles fan. And you're being realistic because you're saying how you think the Cowboys will make the playoffs. They'll be good. Cowboys will be good. That's no question about it. It's just I want to know what type of system Mike McCarthy's going to run because he said he wants to run the football, which he should. He blamed a lot of the blame on Kellen Moore because he thought they were too pass happy. But you have Dak Prescott, who's a top 10, 12 quarterback. He had a bad year last year, not too good of a year last year with all the interceptions and everything. So he didn't produce. And Zeke, but you do got Pollard. So it does make you wonder like what type of system they will run. That'll be my question on the Cowboys. Are they going to be a running team? They're going to be passing. They're going to be more balanced. Like I said, they'll be solid on defense. But all right, well, I see my guest is here on the show. I am excited to have her on. I don't call her a guest; she's more podcast family, as I call her. She's the host of, as I say, Boston Ballin'. I just love saying that because I love her show. I love what she does with her show and everything too. So she's also the host of Locked On Red Sox as well. So let me welcome Gabby Hurlburt to the show. What's up, Gabby? How are you?
Good, Courtney. Every time you say that with Boston Balling, it gets me so pumped, and I love it. And I always have that in my head every time I'm doing my intro on the show now, and I'm just like thinking like Courtney would like be so good at doing this intro for me because he has a little Boston Balling chant that he does.
I love it. Yes, I love what you do. I've always enjoyed having you on the show, and Gabby's been on the show many times. I've been on her show many times, and she, like I said, she's doing a lot of big things with with Boston sports in general, but not just Boston sports, but a Boston Ballin', Locked On Red Sox. Like she's a host of that. So Yeah, well, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And like I said we're going to do the show, and I know we pushed it back. I said no, I got to have Gabby on because we got to talk Patriots versus Eagles this week, as well as you're a big Patriots fan, and that's week one. So, but how are you doing on this Saturday afternoon?
I am doing fantastic. I just got engaged earlier this week.
Yes,
Uh,
congratulations. Yes,
Thank you. So that's some pretty exciting news that's been going on with me. I always feel like I have something new every time you and I connect on a
yeah.
show like this. There's always something new that's going on. And this time it's that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the video. I saw your reaction, and congratulations first and foremost on
Thank
that.
you.
And that's really big. I know you definitely, by from your reaction, you wasn't expecting it because you're
No.
like, I think you said, why are some people taking pictures
Yeah.
and everything? And
Yeah.
it's almost like you were trying to like, I'm ready to go or anything like that. But your fiance with a nice, nice engagement and plan and which I know all about. It's that nerve wracking plan of of proposing because I was very nervous. But I did it. It was at our house, but I was like I had so many knots in my stomach and. It was like it was nervous. I don't usually get nervous about a lot of things at all, but that time I was nervous. But I saw your reaction, so it was picture perfect. So again, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, he did a great job and he actually acted really normal the day of, which I was surprised about because I feel like even what you were just saying with having like the knots in your stomach and all that, like I feel like some people might act a little off or act
Yeah.
nervous for something like that, but he acted completely normal. So I was super surprised. So it really helped with the surprise and it was special because our families were both there to see it happen. So it
Yeah.
was awesome.
That is so cool. I love that. I love seeing that when the families are there, and like I said, I kind of we like we did at the house, and then we went off and told our families. We told my wife's her parents, we told her their house first. Then we told my mom and grandma that and then we told our friends and everything. It was yeah. So and yes, definitely it's so great. It's great to see, and I always love seeing that. I love the reactions. I love because, like I said, it's always a surprise, and I just love seeing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Definitely been a lot of messages that we've both been getting this week,
Yeah,
like on our phones. And my mom is definitely super excited and is already ready to kind of start planning with
yeah.
me. So I have a lot of really excited people around me.
I'm sure. I love seeing it. Again, congratulations. Now it's all about the planning and and all that. So it's no, it's gonna be fun. So enjoy it. Really enjoy the planning and then playing to the wedding and all that, and then you'll be a married woman,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yes, in no time. So that's so much. I love it. I just love it. So, but again, thank you for coming on. I know you always say yes. So anytime football season starts, NBA season starts, we baseball season, we always do a couple of shows together. So I really and always I said I got to get Gabby on now because week one is Eagles versus Patriots. So I said, who else would I have on the show? Unless I was doing it by myself. I said, gotta have Gabby on the show. So, but how's everything going with Boston balling, lockdown Red Sox, and your job, everything else? How's everything going?
Yeah, everything's been busy, but very good. It's now been almost 3 months that I've been with the Locked On Network,
Yeah,
and it's been a great experience. It's pumping out daily episodes about the team, so that can definitely be a bit of a grind. But it allows for so much creativity, and there's just so many Red Sox fans that I've gotten to meet through doing the show that I've gotten to interact with on social media and all of that. So that's been wonderful. I actually have some cool Red Sox related guests that I'm going to be bringing on to the show over the next few weeks. So I'm definitely very excited about that too. People who are around the team a lot and can give some insight about kind of what goes on with the team dynamic in the locker room. So that's definitely a lot of fun. And then Boston Balling is still going strong. I was thinking about how it's now the fall. So once the winter comes up, it'll be 3 years since I started the show.
yeah.
which is crazy to think about because it launched in December of 2020. So the amount of time, that I've put into that show since it started is kind of crazy to think about, and just how much it's grown. Actually just came off of an episode this past week talking all things Patriots prior to week 1,
Yeah.
with Nick Cattles, who is basically the New England sports radio guy. He's been around a lot of the different big Boston sports networks doing radio covering the different teams. And it's super cool to experience having people like that come on the show and give their insight as to what's going on. So it's a lot of fun. Boston Balling it's always going to be the OG.
Yeah, that's your show. Like I remember when you launched it, and we talk all the time, and we were talking about, again, we know the backstory. People know that back. Like I said, we've done like 20 shows together. So, but the backstory of you were on my show, and I interviewed you and you enjoyed it, and you said, I want to start a podcast. And I said, yeah, just do it. And I always say that when we talk about advice to people, I'm sure you get questions too. How do you start a podcast? I want to start one, but I don't know how to start. We just say, just do it. If you find something you like to talk about, and it don't have to be an hour long. It could be, it could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You could do reels now. You could do podcasts anywhere and everywhere. You have to be professionally editing and all that. Just you have your cell phone and really do it. So I remember when you launched it, and now look, a couple of years later, you're doing all these other things. You said with Boston Baller, with Locked On Red Sox, and all the things you got else going on, being interviewed and doing interviews and everything too. So I love to see the growth. And I told you before, I like to see you win. And it's just I just love seeing just being in the background and kind of just seeing everybody doing something productive and positive, and the content creating of it is good to see.
Yeah, and it can be scary
Yeah.
starting a podcast on your own. I mean, I've definitely had people reach out to me to ask for advice on starting one and kind of, how to become successful with it. And the biggest thing that I tell people that I found is really just stay true to yourself and just be confident in what you bring to the table, because people are naturally going to gravitate towards it if you sound confident in what you're talking about and if you're really passionate about it. So I always tell people, like, hone in on what you're really passionate about, that you could find yourself talking about all day, every day. And naturally that passion is going to shine through in your show, and more people are going to want to listen to it because people like passionate people.
Yes, you're right. They do love. They said they love passionate people, and you said true to yourself. I think that's a great advice as well. If you're true to yourself, people will follow, and if you have a good following, people will like it and they follow it, and I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, all right, let's get into some of these big storylines, some of these games that you're looking forward to. As you said, this is, like some people say, it's like their Christmas. They love NFL Week 1. And but we got to talk Eagles. We're rivalries this week, so we got to talk Eagles,
Yeah, right.
Patriots. So the Eagles go into New England Week 1, and they are the favorites in heading into this game. So I think I forgot what the line is. I don't usually do the lines on here, but I think they were plus. Try to look. Okay, yeah, Patriots +4. Yeah, so there's 4. So +4. That was yesterday. So the lines could have changed by then. I don't usually do the lines, but that's +4. But Eagles are the favorite. But what are you looking forward to? First, what are you looking forward to for your Patriots? Like I said, let's do your show on Tuesday or Wednesday. What are you looking forward to with the Patriots? You said they still got Bill Belichick. Mac Jones is still the quarterback. So heading into this season, what's your expectation for your Patriots in another tough divisional year?
Yeah, the AFC East is certainly one of the more competitive divisions. It showed last year when they really had 4 teams who, for a good portion of the season, were really in that playoff hunt. And obviously, the Jets and Patriots ended up finishing and pulling up the rear in that division last year, if you want to call it. But even so, though, like, the Patriots were a bubble team for a lot of the season, to go into the playoffs. And one of the biggest things that held the Patriots back last year was their offense and just how incompetent the offense looked week to week. They have what I believe on a yearly basis is a championship caliber defense. Bill Belichick is a defensive guy.
Yeah.
You always know the defense is going to be very good, and that is always their strong suit. Belichick invests in his defense year after year, but the offense just was not matching that last year. And I think that's going to be different this year because last year they had Matt Patricia doing the play calling, who also is a defensive guy and very much was not really qualified to be an offensive play caller.
Yeah.
So that was just an absolute mess, and it made it hard for Mac Jones to really be able to succeed. And now you take Bill O'Brien and bring him in, who truly is an offensive guy, is familiar with Mac Jones's game, is familiar with Belichick and the Patriots. So I think just that familiarity among all of those parties already to begin with will help Mac Jones feel a little bit more comfortable. And I also trust that O'Brien can run an offense that caters to Mac's strengths, because I don't feel that the Patriots were really doing a whole lot to cater to Mac's strengths and make adjustments to the offense because of what he does well. And I feel like having Bill O'Brien there will help make it a more comfortable offensive system. And I think the offense is going to look a lot better and at least more concise than they did last year.
Yeah, that you're right. I think now, as you said, Matt Patricia, he just was not qualified to call play, and it was a weird offensive system, and it's almost like Belichick kind of just said, it's one of these years, just like I'm just gonna just see how things fall, and almost like he almost didn't have any control of last season, but now it seems like, okay, we got to get back into being a competent football team, because this division is gonna be this division is gonna be really tough, because you said the Bills, yes, they were the top dogs of that division. I still feel like they're going to be too.
I do too.
But did you have the Jets are getting a lot of hype because with Aaron Rodgers, really good defense, and yes, you do add Aaron Rodgers to the mix, but it's going to take some time before they can get acclimated. So I'm seeing people picking the Jets to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't know. I just don't see them taking that big of a leap. Make the playoffs, yes, possibly, but you said it's going to be tough because you still got the Miami Dolphins. Tua's health, if he stays healthy, that they're going to be tough. They made the playoffs last year too, so right. And then New England, like I said, maybe up the rear with that. So, and someone was just CJ Boy asked about, you kind of already explained about Mac Jones just being in the right system, and Mac Jones, he had a good rookie year, struggled last year. If it was a system or whatever it was, just wasn't it. So but you got Ramondre Stevenson, who I do like a lot. Zeke Elliott's there now, so you got Hunter Henry. So you got some Juju Smith-Schuster now is over there as well. So they're trying to provide Mac Jones some weapons, but like the defense is still solid. So it's hard to predict. I know the Patriots. I don't know what their over under was for wins, but I know in something some say they think it'll be 9-8, 8-9, around that way. But what's your take on where do you think they will finish in the division, and can they actually make noise with those other three teams?
Yeah, I actually have them at 9-8 as well.
Okay.
I think, looking at their schedule, it could go a few very different ways. They could be a 6-win team, or they could be over 10 wins. I don't think either of those is happening. I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle. I think we're going to see a very average football team this year. Around 9-8 is my prediction. And, when it comes to the Patriots compared to the other teams in the division, Mac Jones, I'm not fully sold on him, but I'm also not out on him either. I think he deserves another year with the right offensive
I agree.
coordinator
Yeah.
who's actually competent and can help him out more. I think the problem with the Patriots, though, is if you look at them on paper compared to the rest of the division, talent-wise, I feel like they are behind the other teams. I think on paper, everybody else in the division is ahead of the Patriots. Tua has a ton of weapons over in Miami. The Bills are still the Bills. The Jets, to me, I mean, they're the Jets until they show me they're not the Jets.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Right.
they need to just not be the Jets anymore. Essentially, Aaron Rodgers, I'm not really sold on him still having as much in the tank as people think he does. I think, he's nearing what will presumably be the end of his career. He hasn't shown a lot of postseason success overall, really. So I'm not convinced that they can make a deep postseason run. I do think they will finish the season better than the Patriots, though. I actually think the Patriots will end up in last in the division this year, which I hate to say. Whether 9 wins can get them a playoff spot, probably not. Especially if they're in last place in their division, then it just likely wouldn't happen anyway. But I think if they do happen to make the playoffs, then I think that they can win 1, maybe 2 games. That's it. I think this is still very much a year where they need to go out there and prove that they can compete with others. And one of the biggest things that I've been thinking about here is Belichick. Has he kind of overstayed his welcome at this point or
Mm-hmm.
no? Like, is Belichick's style of football still gonna work or not? I think we're gonna, be able to tell a lot of that this year. I think they're a very average team. I think that they'll win 9 games is what I'm going with, and I think the rest of the division is going to show that they're just ahead of them and they're just better.
Yeah, I agree, 100% agree. I think they're right in the it's and plus in this AFC, just the AFC, not just the AFC East. The AFC is loaded, like full of good teams. And I mean, we named 3 of them, and then you got the Chiefs, you got the Bengals, you got Baltimore, who's improved. You just don't. I mean, who knows what's going on? Like Pittsburgh, can they improve? Yes. What about Cleveland? I mean, in that division, like, you just don't know. Can Deshaun Watson get his magic back from 2019, where he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league? We don't know about them. Like you said, you have the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, so the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the AFC compared to the NFC, there's so many teams that can that can really like make it hard for some of those other the bottom teams, if you want to say, to contend with. So I mean, it's going to be tough, but anything can happen and everything too. And someone said here, CJ also said very great take on the Patriots starting to fall behind the rest of the competition as well with the talent. As you said, yes, they're catching up. He said they're saying that everybody in the division is starting to catch up with the Patriots. They're starting to get better. Yeah, and that's what you were just alluding to. It's as much as Belichick, the greatest coach in the NFL, now that I know it's like him and Tom Brady was so connected to the hip. Belichick is 25-25 since Brady left and only one in the playoffs. So now it's almost like, okay, how much does he have to rally the team like that? He's still Belichick, and like you say, heading into this game with the Eagles, you gotta give respect to Belichick, even in a down couple years. You still have to really. It's going to be a tough game. I still feel like it's not going to be a blowout or anything like that because Bill Belichick always has his team prepared. But what's your take heading into Week 1, Patriots Eagles? What's the keys they have to do to win?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to be at the game, so
Oh,
I
okay. Yeah.
hope that they can at least deliver me a competitive game and it's not a blowout, since I
Yeah.
will actually be in attendance for
Right.
the
Right.
game, which is super cool. But yeah, I think the offensive line was a huge concern in the preseason. Obviously, the preseason is not a way to judge how the team's going to look week 1 because there's so many players playing in the preseason that just aren't starters. But the offensive line was a concern last year too, and if they're fully healthy, I think the offensive line is better than it was last year. But they have some health concerns. on the offensive line right now. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking for is Mac Jones going to have enough time to make plays and actually throw the ball, because that's something that I'm looking at that was a concern last year that I want to see them grow on this year. If they want to win the game, they have to really lock in, and the offense has to be a lot more in sync than they were all of last season. Mac has semi weapons, but not the best weapons in the world. I think Bill O'Brien is the type of guy who will be able to create a good, offensive scheme. We know the Eagles have a tough defense. So I think if the Patriots want to win the game, the biggest thing for me is going to be what are they doing to set up that offense to succeed? Does Mac have enough protection on that offensive line to be able to make the plays necessary? Because Mac is a very strong football IQ. He really does understand and have the knowledge of what goes on the field and what types of plays he should be making. That's just something he's always had. So I think that's something that is going to be natural with him, but they really need to make sure that he has that protection to be able to make the plays. I think the defense will keep it a competitive game. I think we saw how tough the Eagles offense was last year. And I expect nothing less this year. I think that they'll be just as tough offensively this year, but I think the Patriots defense is able to adapt to those types of offenses and will be able to keep it a close game. But I'm really looking at that offensive line as the biggest key for the Patriots. I think I do have the Eagles winning myself, but I think the Patriots can win primarily because of how tough this defense is going to be for the Eagles. And if it's a competitive game at the end, I could see it going either way.
Yeah, and this is one of those games you just don't know because, like I said, it's week one, so you don't know who's what. Like it's not like last year. Like I said, the Eagles were very good. They got to the Super Bowl last year, and I'm hoping that momentum could carries. But we know from past history, Super Bowl hangover, losers a hangover. They don't do as well. But like you said, the Eagles shored up their defensive line. Now they got a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. So that could be a concern. That could take some time. But as I said before, Jalen Hurts he's improving. They still have the weapons. They still have a great offensive line, have a great defensive line. So they're going to try to put pressure on Mac Jones. I think the middle of the field is still kind of the weakness of the Eagles, and running running the football against the Eagles is still, I think they have to stop the run. That even though with a good offensive defensive line, teams were still running the football on us in a lot of games. So I think a key for the Patriots too is, for one, not turn the ball over, but another thing is hopefully keep Mac Jones the pocket clean and maybe be able to run the football with Zeke, with Ramondre Stevenson. Hopefully Ramondre Stevenson's not ruled out. I know he had an illness yesterday. They're saying he should be playing. He should be able to play, but
then they utilized the run game a lot last year. That was something that they actually did very well. It was one of the Patriots' strong suits last season, and I could see them utilizing it a lot in week one, especially if the Eagles defense struggles against the run. That's something the Patriots could use to their advantage, because their running back room is one of their strongest assets of the roster right now.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think, you're right. I think that's where the Eagles, they have to. Now they did lose Miles Sanders. They on the other side, the Eagles. It's hard because you never know what game plan, because the Eagles got so many weapons. They could game plan against any defense, because now you say, okay, Jalen Hurts, is he going to be on the run? No, they want him to run less. And that's why they have 4 running backs now. They got Swift. They lose Miles Sanders, but they got Swift. They got Rashad Penny. Those two just have to stay healthy. Still got Kenneth Gainwell. Got Boston Scott. So, and then Hurts as a weapon, in the run game, is a weapon too. So Belichick's gonna have his hands full with those weapons, and on top of that, they can now Jalen Hurts. He's a legit quarterback where he can throw for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns with the receivers and Goddard there as well. So it's gonna be interesting how the chess match is gonna be with Belichick versus the Eagles offense, and then on defense, are the Eagles gonna be able to pressure and put that pressure on. You said the offensive line is not strong suit, so that could be a plus for the Eagles and their defensive line, getting pressure on Mac Jones and hopefully force him into some turnovers. I got the Eagles winning 27-17, somewhere around there. So I think the Eagles will do enough to get game one. So we'll see though. But I know you're hoping for that win for the Patriots, as you're gonna be there live
Yeah.
and everything for first game. So that's great that you'll be there right in the stands. So
Yeah, it's tough for the Patriots going up against a team that went to the Super Bowl last year in week one. That's obviously not the best draw I could have hoped for from the Patriots standpoint for their schedule. The first 4 or 5 games are really going to make or break the Patriots' chances this year, because those first 4 or 5 games are very tough. And if, they can come away with even going 2-2 in the first 4, keeping themselves, somewhat in it and giving them a chance when they're facing some tough teams in those few weeks, then they have a shot. But if they lose their first 4 games, then it's going to be really hard for them to come back from that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Then when teams go on 1-6, we've seen teams turn around like Detroit Lions. They turned their season around last year, winning 8 of their last 9. So it's not impossible, but it's tough sledding when you're down in that first half of the year. And it's like, no. So, but yeah, I got high expectations for my Eagles. As you said, I think they can improve, and they got that bad taste in their mouth for losing that Super Bowl last year to the Chiefs. I think they're ready to. I think Hurts is ready to even take his game to another elevated. I'm hoping he can just keep elevating it. What other games you're looking forward to in week one? Any other matchups, or what storylines are you looking forward to in week one?
Yeah, I love the NFC East now as a division. Obviously, they used to be identified as the NFC least.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they've gotten to be such a competitive division now. I'm looking at that Sunday night matchup, that Giants-Cowboys game, as a big one. That division to me is going to be very competitive, just like it was last year. I think the Cowboys and Giants both have the potential to be playoff teams this season. I think the Giants saw so much promise, or showed so much promise last year, and they have the right coaching to allow them to succeed. I'm still not sold on Daniel Jones. I think this is a big prove it year for him, to show if he is the guy that can lead that team, because they've surrounded him now with a lot of talent over there. So I'm looking at him and saying this is a big prove it year for him. But the Cowboys are going to be good again. I expect them to, be a competitive team. I think they might give the Eagles a run for their money in that division. I also think the Giants could do that. I think that division is going to be very competitive again this year. So that's definitely one of the games I'm looking at as just a very, competitive, fun division to watch this year. And it's got to feel good, because if you're a fan of a team in that division and you're so used to like those teams not being that good, like in that whole division just being very non-competitive, it's going to be so fun to watch like those 3 teams battle it out, because I'm looking at the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles, and they're all going to be, teams that definitely have a chance to be competitive playoff teams. So I'm definitely looking at that matchup. Bills Jets is an intriguing one. I think,
Monday night.
We talked about the Jets already, but they have so much to prove right now. There's a lot of pressure on them right now to show that they can live up to the hype that they are getting. I personally think it's too much hype. I think there's going to be a lot of adjusting that they need to figure out. Aaron Rodgers playing in a completely new environment with a new coach, and obviously some of his former Packers teammates are there with him. But I think, if the Jets go out there and make some noise and beat the Bills in week one, then people might start to buy into the hype of, oh, are the Jets for real? But if they go out in week one and the Bills still show that they're a vastly better team than them, then people are going to start to have thoughts like, are the Jets, overrated? Like, I think that week one matchup can say a lot about where the Jets are truly at with these newfound pieces that they have and whether they truly are at that level that the Bills are at or not. So I think that's going to say a lot and set a huge tone within the division of how that game goes.
I agree. I think the Jets are getting a lot of hype, and I get it from there was on Hard Knocks, and they got Aaron Rodgers, and they haven't had this much buzz in a long time. So I get why, but it's like, okay, let's see what they able to produce during the season before we give them too much hype, And I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Bills. It's like, okay, yeah, the Bills, they disappointed in the playoffs. Josh Allen didn't have his best playoff run, and there's some, with Diggs, and there's some disconnect a little bit, but I think the Bills are still going to be good, very good, and I think they're the best team in that division still until proven, until the Jets can beat them. Now, if the Jets if they beat them on Monday, that's a good start, but the Bills still got a good defense. Josh Allen's still one of the top 3-4 quarterbacks in the league. And he's got Diggs, he's got Gabe Davis. So they James Cook now is their running back. So I still feel like they're going to be really good. They're still going to be one of the top teams. And yeah, and I think they're being slept on because of, the Jets and the hype and things like that. So I feel like it's going to be that's going to be an interesting division, as we talked about. And you said the NFC East, they were kind of competitive last year because, Dallas and the Giants both made the playoffs. And someone said about the Commanders they were right in the mix. They said Cowboys going 12-5 this year. I think that's what they were last year. They might go 11. I think I got the Cowboys 11-6, something like that. So I guess like I said, I was talking earlier in the show. It all depends on Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, the play calling. Because I think the defense is going to be really good for them. But I don't know. It's going to be a very competitive. Because you said the Giants will be right there. They got Daniel Jones with more weapons, so it's not just Saquon Barkley leaning on him so much. They do have more weapons. But you said now Daniel Jones, he got paid, so now he's got to play like at least a better quarterback, elite quarterback, because you got your weapons, you got your money. Now it's all about producing. And I think with Dable over there has helped him a lot. So it just now they got year two together. So I think the Giants will be really good too. And we talked a little bit about the AFC, how loaded that is. So, I mean, there's so many storylines. Sean Payton in Denver. Can he turn Russell Wilson around? He's already making comments and things like that, telling Russ to stop kissing babies and being a politician and his brand just come back and just be a quarterback. So I want to see how that dynamic that works out. Lamar Jackson now, he's got his contract. They gave him weapons. So I think Baltimore's going to be really good. So there's a lot of good storylines. Any other storylines before I let you go? Any other storylines that you are looking forward to?
Yeah, obviously there was that whole DeAndre Hopkins situation.
Yes.
And him people not knowing where he was going to go. I, as a Patriots fan, ended up pretty disappointed because for a while, based on news that was coming out, there looked like a chance that the Patriots were going to sign him. It seemed like his visit with the Patriots went well, and obviously there was mutual interest there, or they wouldn't have spent as much time with him as they did. I think there definitely was mutual interest. I think the Patriots, I truly believe that the Patriots were trying to work out a deal with him. And, ultimately seeing the deal that he got with the Titans, the Patriots definitely could have done that. So that was a little disappointing, but I am interested in seeing, whether he's able to elevate the Titans to the point that they need. We know his history of success. We know, the type of player he is. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that affects that team and whether it really helps elevate their game to the point where they can be a top dog in the AFC.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's another. Like you said, D-Hop was one of the most. Everybody wanted part of the. I mean, even the Eagles were saying if he takes less money, we bring him over. I was like, man, that'd be like that's a lot. We already got enough weapons, but I know he was interested at one point, but can't get everybody. He just can't get everybody. But last one, since you're going to be at the game, Tom Brady gets his jersey retired as a Patriot. I know you did a special when he's supposed to retire, but then came back the first time. But what do you think of, as you said, you've seen all the Super Bowls, you were, big part of you was the fan, saw the greatness, one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. I know there's been some talk now that he's not the greatest quarterback of all time because as Joe Montana said and everything, but he's definitely one of, if not the greatest quarterback ever. But what's your now you get to see that and the officially retiring an official retirement ceremony there in New England week 1 against the Eagles. What are you looking forward to watching that and now seeing that end of that great career?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really powerful. It'll be cool to see, that welcome he gets from the fans. He's obviously so loved by New England and Patriots fans, and just the amount of success that he really brought to just this city and just making football so fun for so many years to watch as a Patriots fan, and being able to just watch him just grow and just constantly make the Patriots a Super Bowl caliber team. It's just something truly special. I mean, that dynasty that the Patriots created is just really something that's so unique that nobody can ever take away from them. And being able to witness that in person, I think will be so special. And I think there will be a lot of emotions that go around for that. But this is obviously so incredibly well deserved. I mean, he's just, when you think of like athletes who have played in the Boston area and really made an impact from a sports standpoint, like Tom Brady will always be in every single conversation of being one of the best athletes to ever play in Boston or in the New England area. So it's definitely going to be something truly special, and I can't wait to see the reactions of the other fans as he's walking onto the field for all this.
I know you've been spoiled for those 20 years,
Yeah.
being a Patriots fan and winning those Super Bowls, seeing that, and so many parades I'm sure you went to during some of those times, and just like I said, just being a part of that history and his greatness. He's a legend. Like Tom Brady is, one of the GOATs of all time. Period. So I could definitely, I know you get to see that in person, and now you get to see one more time Tom Brady in the New England area as a Patriot, retiring as a Patriot tomorrow. So everyone tune in. If you're a Tom Brady fan, if you're not, or if you're just a Patriot fan or just a football fan, you get to just seeing one of the greatest players of all time retire as one of the most legendary players we've seen in NFL history, and one of the GOAT athletes that we've ever seen too. So yes, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and then hopefully the Eagles can beat the Patriots right after with the ceremony, and let's have that. But week 1 is here. I know you're excited. I'm excited too. Football is back. College started a couple weeks ago. We had Chiefs Lions Thursday. That was just an appetizer, but now we get the entree of full slate of games.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, that was a fun game. That was a lot of fun. It just shows how, like I said, like Chiefs need Kelsey and Chris Jones. They need both. And but yeah, and the Lions look like they might be for real. So we'll see. Now it's a long season, but I'm not overreacting to the Chiefs losing. They lost by 1 point, so they still were in that game. But it was a really good game. Good game to start the season off. But Gabby, always a pleasure having you on the show. Like I said, I'm glad we still was able to do this. And I said, no, I gotta have Gabby. We'll push it back, whatever time. We could have did this at 9:00 at night. It didn't matter. I wanted to do this show with you before the season starts. So, but I really appreciate you coming on, and let everyone know they can follow you on social media and what you got upcoming over the next week or two, and then heading into this this new season, because the NBA starts in like a month. So I know you
Yeah,
have some
right.
coverage there.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's always such a fun time doing shows with you and being able to catch up and really talk sports, because we've really done shows about all different sports, really,
Yeah.
you and I together. So it's always a great time. You can follow me on Twitter at Gabby Hurlburt 10 and on Instagram at Gabby underscore Hurlburt 10. Boston Balling also has its own accounts on Instagram. It's Boston underscore balling underscore podcast. And on Twitter, it's just at Boston Balling. And you can also follow Locked On Red Sox on Twitter at LO underscore Red Sox. And you can just subscribe to the shows really on any podcast platform, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. You can follow the show on a YouTube as well. So really a lot of different ways to get the shows. I have a bunch of stuff coming up on Boston Balling as we approach basketball and hockey season, and MLB postseason is coming up soon, and football obviously is here now. So this is truly a great time of year, because once October hits, there's really just so much going on from a sports standpoint,
Yes.
and it's so fun to be able to be a part of all of it. So this is definitely the time when you're going to want to follow and check it out, because definitely lots coming up.
Lots coming up. So follow Gabby on, like I said, on social media, the shows, because she always got great content, great guests, and just looking forward to, like I said, look forward to all what's coming up this season. And I gotta invade Boston Ball. I gotta come on and invade. And we'll do. I know we do shows together all the time. So, but it's been a while, so I'm gonna hit you up and say I'm invading the show this week. I might just come in.
Definitely.
I'm gonna knock on your door, like I said, like amongst family, friends. I'm gonna knock on your door and go to the refrigerator and say, hey, I'm here. Let's chat, let's talk. So, but I'm looking forward to the content. Look forward to everything you got going on. So, thank you again, Gabby. Really always appreciate you, and look forward to this upcoming season, and look forward to what you got on the next on all your shows and all the content as well.
Yeah, thank you so much as always for your support, and always constantly being one of my best fans too. So I really appreciate it, and I love when you pop into the comments when I'm doing the Boston Balling
Yes.
live shows too. So that's always fun, but always appreciate it. And yeah, you'll definitely have to come on Boston Balling soon too. And lastly, go Patriots.
Yes, yes. You had to say that. Of course, I got to go birds, fly Eagles, fly. It's all. It's The trash talking begins. So we definitely will be. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great season. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much. You as well.
Right. Have a good one. All right, that was Gabby Hurlburt. Follow her on Locked On Boston, Locked On Red Sox, and Boston Ballin'. All right, until next time, thank you everyone that tuned in. Thank you everyone that tuned in on all the wherever you got this. Like I said, you can play the replay here. You can play it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And Gabby's one of the best. I've always enjoyed having her on the show. Like I said, we've done like 20 shows together. So we definitely are always supporting each other. But again, thanks everyone that tuned in. Hope everyone enjoys NFL football. Week 1 is here. Make sure you get your fantasy lineups in. Make sure you get those DraftKings and FanDuel lineups in as well. But enjoy the games wherever you are. If you're at home, you're going to the games live, wherever it may be. Enjoy them. Be safe. Until next time, again, follow the show on everywhere. Hit me up if you want to be a guest as well. Until next time, see you guys next week. And as always, peace. God bless.